Hey and welcome, I'm Solo and this is ZN Gaming. In this video, I'll be going over how to fix Apex game stuttering, and before I waste any more time, let's jump into it. Getting a bit of game stuttering, maybe some slight freezes, skipping frames, or anything of the sort, I'll be covering a few ways to fix these here issues. Most of these here fixes will be video card driver related. I'm doing that because it's the most common issues. Sometimes, a simple fix for these here problems is just an actual reinstall of your video card drivers. So first, and I'll go over how to reinstall your video card drivers. So this is going to depend a lot if you have an AMD or a NVIDIA GPU. There's going to be many different ways. For NVIDIA, you're going to be able to go down here to the taskbar and open it and open up the NVIDIA app. Now, if it says NVIDIA GeForce here, we already know that you are very far behind. The GeForce experience have been updated to the NVIDIA app. So if you have the GeForce drivers, you are on already a much older software and probably need to update. Before we go any further, I need you to uninstall NVIDIA GeForce experience and update it to the NVIDIA app so that you're currently up to date. If you're not up to date, that's going to be some of the problem. So if you're not going to bother updating that now, there's no point in going forward. You have to make sure that there is on the current update. Make sure it's on the current version and that everything is up to date. That's how you're going to fix problems. If you leave anything not updated, or if you don't update everything, you're going to have problems. So if you're on the GeForce app, make sure that you change over to the NVIDIA app now. If that's going to take a couple of minutes, you just need to go to the NVIDIA app, the GeForce experience, go to the help and go down to the updates. Now, if that doesn't work, you're going to have to uninstall it manually and reinstall it from the scratch. Now that you have the NVIDIA app installed, we can continue. We're just going to open up the app, and from here, the second tab down here is just going to be the drivers. NVIDIA made this here very easy for you to be able to reinstall your drivers. All you're going to have to do is click on reinstall and go through the process. We're going to do this here, so do you want to allow this app to make changes to the device? We're going to click yes. And this is going to say express or custom. If you're a more advanced user, you can go through the custom installation. We're just going to go through the express and click continue. This is just going to do the very basic uninstall and reinstall of your drivers. This is going to fix most of your game issues with stuttering. And as long as it's not hardware related issues, this should be the most common fix for most game stuttering or game issues with FPS. This installation process is probably going to take 5 to 10 minutes, and I'll get back to you when it's done. Your screen will flicker a few times. You might hear your sound disconnect and reconnect, and then it should come up here and say GeForce gaming drivers ready. And to complete the installation, a restart is required. Just give it a restart now. Don't click the restart later. Do it right now so that you don't forget, and I'll be back in another minute. After a quick restart and it loads back up, you're going to want to make sure that you go and test the game that you're having an issue with to see if this fixed the problem. Now, it doesn't always fix the problem because a soft driver reinstall doesn't necessarily fix the issues with the drivers. There is other options in here where you can roll back the drivers a little bit. So if you're still having the issue, when it loads back up, we're going to want to make sure that we open up the NVIDIA control panel just to make sure that it's actually running on the system. I had to open it manually. It didn't open on its own. So that's something to keep in mind. Once it's open though, you can go through here, go back to the drivers, and we just did the reinstall. This is only a soft reset of the drivers. This is not like DDU or a hard reset of the drivers. But in here, there is a spot, if you scroll down here to the bottom, where it says previously installed GeForce Game Ready drivers. Now, this is going to be something that might save you. Sometimes when you update, a reinstall of the drivers isn't necessarily what you need, but sometimes there's an issue with the newest drivers that come out, depending on the game that you're playing. So if you're playing a fairly newer title and you have the issue after you have the graphics card update, I suggest going down here after you do the reinstallation, if you're still having problems, to go back a version of drivers. So all we're going to need to do is just click the reinstall on the previous installed version. So the one that you had just before this one here. So if you found that you got an update and then started having the problem, try going back a single version and seeing if that fixes your problem. This is just a very easy way to fix game stuttering, and one of the things I definitely suggest trying if you're still having the issue. Now, it doesn't always fix it if you happen to have corrupted drivers or another issue. So if you've had your Windows installation for over a year and you've had your video card drivers for over a year, and you just started to get the issues out of nowhere. You've tried your drivers, reinstall it back and forth. The thing you're going to have to do now is you're going to need to use a program called DDU, and you're going to need to force remove all of NVIDIA drivers just in case something's corrupt, and then do a reinstallation. But before we get to that there point, definitely make sure that you do this here. So step one is to open up your NVIDIA control panel, do your reinstall of your drivers. If that doesn't work, try going back a version, and if that doesn't work, then we're going to manually uninstall and reinstall the drivers using the DDU tool. So after you've tested your game and you're still experiencing issues, now it's time for us to try different things. At this here point, if you're still having the issues, we do have a few more things to try, and if you have an AMD video card, you're just going to have to uninstall it like you would any other program. You're just going to go to apps and settings, go to install apps, and find the AMD software related, making sure that it's just the AMD software related to your video card drivers. There's going to be other AMD things on your system that are related to your chipset. So when you uninstall everything with DDU for AMD, you're going to have to make sure that you put your chipset drivers back on. I'll make sure to cover that as we go. So this is just another thing you can try. If you have AMD drivers, you are going to have to uninstall it and then re-download and install the new drivers from scratch. NVIDIA has it set up in their app to be a little bit easier with the reinstallation, or if you need the older drivers, you can just click this button and click reinstall. We're going to close this here down. Now, if that still didn't work, now if you've tried all that and you're still loading up the game and you're having a few issues, at this here time, I definitely would suggest you to try out the DDU. The DDU is a display driver uninstaller, and I suggest getting the one by guru3d.com. And it's going to bring you through quite a process. We're going to load up the website. Once you load up the website, it's going to look a little bit sketchy, but we want this here download right here. We're just going to take the US mirror, and it should start automatically downloading. After it's downloaded, we're just going to double click it and double click it again here. Okay, it makes you extract it. Once you extract it, we're just going to click extract again. Once you click it, it's just going to add another folder called DDU version 18. We're going to give this one here a click. And it's going to have the display driver uninstaller. Just double click that there and it's going to load up. We're going to click yes. Now this here does need it to be loaded up in safe mode for it to actually be accurate. It's going to tell you that here in a minute, but I'm just going to run through this here quickly to make sure that it's downloaded correctly. This seems to be the first time that you've launched DDU. Before using, please know the following. Depending on your problems and configurations, it could help or make things worse. So definitely keep that in mind. You should have a backup. That should always be the case. You should read the license, README, and TOS. That's not something you should do. Number 3, that's just funny business. And number 4, we are not responsible for any damage, data loss of any kind. And we are always willing to help if there is a problem. So if you happen to not know what you're doing and can't figure things out, the team will. Like, you can get help on their support pages for quite a bit. But like if you have a project or something that's really related to your drivers, your NVIDIA stuff, like some of that stuff's going to be wiped out. So just keep that in mind when you're using this. And we're going to click OK. Now some of this here is just going to be some check marks. We're going to leave everything here just absolutely stock as it is. And we're going to click close. Now DDU has detected that you are not in safe mode. For a better cleaning without issues, it is recommended to reboot into safe mode. We're actually going to do that to use this here tool. I'm just going to go and show you through the process. And from here, it's going to be select your type. You can pick GPU, and then you can have NVIDIA GPU or NVIDIA, AMD, or Intel. And I actually suggest uninstalling them all. Every one of them, select all of them. Start with NVIDIA if that's the one you have. Do AMD and then Intel. Make sure you uninstall them all and do the clean and restart. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to close all this here down now that we know that we have it working. And we're going to restart Windows. So for us, we're going to click on the Start menu. We're going to push and hold Shift when we click on the power button, and then we're going to restart, and we're going to hold Shift while doing this. This is going to bring us up into a menu. Now I let go of Shift. This should load us up into the menu so that we can select safe mode. Once it loads back up, it's going to have a few options here. We're just going to go down to the troubleshooting, and we're going to go to the advanced options. The startup settings is the one we were going to select here, and then it's going to say restart to change Windows options such as enable low resolution, enable debugging, enable boot logging, enable safe mode. That's the one we want, so we're just going to click restart, and it's going to give us these here options. So once it's restarted, it's going to take a few minutes to load up, and then it's going to give us an options from 1 to 8. All right, and like I said, it's going to load up with 1 to 9 answer, all you're going to have to do is press the key 4 on your keyboard. So once you press 4, it's just going to load into the safe mode automatically. This is going to take a few minutes to go through, but you only need to do it once. Once you do a DDU of your drivers, you know they're removed permanently. Things are going to look a little bit different in safe mode when it loads up. This is not going to have multiple monitors support, so you are only going to have the main monitor. And my capture card does not seem to want to capture this here. Okay, once the computer loads up in safe mode, it's going to look quite a bit different. It's going to have this here at the top, the Windows Microsoft build and release date. We're just going to need to go back to the downloads. And in the downloads, we're just going to click on the guru3d.com. It's going to open up. We're going to click on the DDU version 18 folder, and then we're going to run the display driver on installer again. Now this should come up really quick, and I suggest running all three. So I suggest clean and restart, or clean and do not restart. We're going to do this one here 3 times. So for us, we're going to select GPU. We're going to go to the AMD one. We're going to clean and do not restart. This may cause issues, but this isn't a GPU. This isn't our main GPU. We're just going to do all 3 of them. So we're going to click the AMD GPU. We're going to click clean and do not restart. We're also going to do this exact same thing for Intel. And then when we do the NVIDIA drivers, the ones that we have, we're going to clean and restart for that one there. So after we run these here too, we're going to run the last one with the restart. Again, I'll go through this here process 3 times, so you'll be able to see and tag along as we go. The clean installation is complete. Would you like to exit now? We're going to click no on this here page, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go down here to the Intel. We're going to click the clean and do not restart. And when it's done, it's the same thing. We're going to click no. And now the last one, we're going to click the NVIDIA one. For this one here, we want to clean and restart, which is highly recommended. But after we do that, our computer's going to restart. And then we're going to have to go and find our drivers again. So once I click clean and restart, I will have to end my stream. I'm currently recording from the PC. So once it restarts, I am going to lose the stream here. So click the clean and restart, and it will take a few minutes, and it should restart automatically. After it loads back up, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to look like it was in safe mode here for a little bit. It's going to be missing some of the driver updates. So what we're going to need to do is open up a Google, and we're just going to need to search for NVIDIA and go to the website and download the latest drivers. We're just going to click the drivers and go through and select our series. We have an older... we're in the 3000 series. We got a 3080 Ti in this here rig, and Windows 11, and click find. Okay, this should just bring us to the page to download it for Windows 11. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the NVIDIA app as well, but if it's not, we'll download that later. We're going to get the GeForce Game Ready drivers. That's the one that we're going to want here. We're just going to click the view, and we're going to download it. Now, we can skip that process, and we can just download the NVIDIA app and click download. This is just going to bring us through all the process, download the drivers, and install the control panel for us anyways, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to go through that process now. We'll just click the install, click yes. We're going to agree to the terms and services. And once it's installed, it's going to load up, and it should automatically start loading the drivers immediately. As you can see, it's a little bit wonky right now. That's because there's no video card drivers at all. And once it's done downloading, we're just going to click the installation, click yes, and we're going to go with the express installation like every time and click continue. This is just going to take a few minutes. Your screen is going to flicker on and off, and then it should be done after that. After the installation, everything should look back to normal. If your resolution's a little off right now, don't worry about it. Everything will be fixed up after the installation is complete. And as some of these here things that you're seeing right now, the artifacting and stuff like that, is just because we do not have any drivers installed at all. Okay, it finished the drivers. Now load it back up here. It's going to say Game Ready Drivers in NVIDIA Studio. We're just going to click this first one and click Next. It's just going to bring us to optimize the games. It doesn't matter. We're going to click Next. enable the media overlays. We don't actually want this. We want to disable the NVIDIA overlays immediately right here. We want to make sure that they're turned off right now because this is going to give you a performance decline. So if you were having just a small FPS issue and it was along with the new update, this might be the issue that was causing it. If you were only having FPS issues at the very start, turning off the NVIDIA overlay might actually fix the issue without the reinstallation. But as you are reinstalling it, make sure that you have it disabled for now until there's an update later in the future. We're just going to click done after that. And here it's going to say GeForce Game Ready drivers, and we're going to need to restart, so we're just going to click the restart now, and that should be it for us. This is just going to load back up into the Windows. And that's really it for us. All we need to do now is a clean restart. Once the restart is done, the game should work absolutely perfectly fine. If you're still having issues after this here, you are going to have to look into things a little bit more serious, like your Windows experience. You might have to reinstall Windows 10 or Windows 11 to fix your experience, or there might be a hardware issue in the way. So if you're still having issues after all of this here, try reseating your GPU. Just take it out, put it back in. Reseat your RAM, take it out, put it back in. If you're uncomfortable doing that, I definitely suggest just looking for other alternatives. And I would, if you're still having the issue at this here point, after you've done the full driver installation, my suggestion is for you to redo Windows. So go and do a Windows reset and make sure that it's not something else that's causing you the issue before trying to replace anything with like hardware issues or anything like that. Make sure that it's not a software issue first. And good ways to do that is just reinstall. Reinstall your Windows 11 or Windows 10 or Windows 11 experience and start from scratch, fresh drivers, fresh Windows. If you're still having the issue after that, I would definitely claim it as hardware issues, and you will have to troubleshoot that totally different ways. There might be a few other things that you'll need to fix here up in the display settings. Depending on how many monitors that you had, you might need to order these here in a different order, or you might need to move them down. You might need to move them around for your preference. I had to move a few things around to make sure that I have things in the correct order. Once you have things set back to the way that you had them, I hope that there got some things straightened out for you. Like I said, if you're still having the issues of stuttering game after you do all this here, your best bet is to do a Windows 11 or Windows 10 reset or fresh installation. There's many ways to do that. I suggest Googling. I do have a video covering how to do a fresh Windows 11 installation, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave it in the description below. But that's everything for this one here. If that does not fix your issues with your games, I'm absolutely sorry. Sometimes you are going to have to wait for a different version of your drivers, or you may have hardware issues. That is something that you're going to have to look into and goes beyond the brink of this here video. So I appreciate everyone for staying tuned this here long. If you think I forgot or left something out, definitely leave it in the comments below. And if you like or found the video helpful, hit the thumbs up and get subscribed for more content. Thanks for watching. Bye!